This is Pastor Mark from Peace Church in Potter, sharing some of the books I'm reading this week as we approach the Memorial Day weekend. First one I have on my list is Freedom by Jonathan Franzen. It's about a couple that gets married and moves to the St. Paul, Minnesota area, full of dreams and ideas about the future, but life throws them some curveballs, and they realize that it's not so easy to set out to do what you were hoping to do. They have trouble in their marriage, trouble with their kids. In other words, it's a very realistic novel. It's about life in the post-Reagan years. I would say it's very similar to Richard Yates's classic novel, Revolutionary Road, which talks about 1950s America. This book is a little more interesting, not quite as mean-spirited. I recommend it. It's a good book. Second book on my list is Jesus According to Scripture by Darrell, Bock. At first I resisted reading this book because I was thinking if I really wanted to know what the Scriptures said about Jesus, I could just read the Scriptures. What a novel idea that is! However, as I perused the pages, I realized what a good book this is. Dr. Bock does a great job of talking about the life of Jesus, interpreting puzzling passages from the New Testament, and showing how Jesus' life fulfilled the Old Testament. I really enjoy it. There's a lot of books out there that are dissing Jesus, that are dissing the historicity and reliability of the scriptural documents, and Bock holds a high view of the Scriptures and gives a very plausible, realistic interpretation. Very sane, very reliable. Jesus according to Scripture. It's also very big. 600 pages, I'd say. But it's about Jesus and it's good. This book is about how to choose a translation of the Bible that you would like to read. There's so many different kinds of English Bible translations. It can be overwhelming when you go to the bookstore and try to figure out what you're supposed to get. Well, there's three kinds of Bibles in English. One is the kind that tries to translate word for word what the original Hebrew and Greek is. Problem is with some of those is you get very good Greek but very bad English. The second kind is the functional equivalent translations. They try to stay close to the original languages, but they also try to translate in everyday sensible English that we speak today. And that's the kind of Bible I prefer to use. I have an NIV Bible. It's a very good representative of this kind of Bible. And then the third kind are the paraphrases, your Living Bible, the Message. Those are good Bibles, but I would never make those my main one. I want one that's closer to the original language and captures the essence and the meaning. So I like the NIV Bible, but the English Standard Version is also very good. The New King James is good. The New Living Translation is pretty good. Next book I have here is a book for pastors. It's called Letters to Timothy. The author writes to his son, who is a pastor, and tries to encourage him and show him the ropes as far as a lifelong ministry. And it's very hands-on. What to look for in choosing deacons for your church, how to set aside quality time for studying, how to preach in a way that you'll come across clearly, how long to stay at people's houses when they invite you over to visit with them, how long your hospital visit should be. It's basically one-stop shopping for pastors. Good stuff. Last but not least is a book by the venerable professor of New Testament, Ben Witherington III. This is volume 2 of his 1,700-page opus on New Testament theology. This is definitely not for the faint of heart. It's heavy duty. Ben does a good job. The first book, he talks about John's individual theology, Matthew's theology, the writer of Revelation's theology. And then in the second big book, he kind of synthesizes things and comes out looking at the big picture. It's good stuff, but Ben has other books that are smaller, more bite-sized, easier to handle. I would recommend those. His commentary on Revelation is great. His commentary on Acts is phenomenal. His New Testament history book is terrific. This one, don't read it. I would say let guys like me read it. Pastors who are nerds and like putting their noses in these types of books. Anyways, you guys have a great weekend and take care.